How do you make a box and whisker chart in Excel? Making a basic one is actually easy, but it's going beyond that. It's a little more challenging. So what is a box and whisker chart? It's a really simple depiction of a data set, and it shows the low, middle, and high values of that data set, the very bare essentials. I think of it as like a stickman picture. A stickman picture has very, very little detail, but it really conveys the most important information, and you can do lots of fun things with little stickmen. I'm going to do a box and whisker type stickman of my data set. So here's data that's from a survey of students many years ago. And one of the questions was how much do they expect to earn that after they graduate? And if I want to summarize what's the pattern of those expectations, I could go and take salary data here. So let me take that column. I could go up to insert. I'm going to look for a chart, and it gives me a bunch of different variables. I don't want those ones. I want a box and whisker chart. And I can click OK. Boom, there's my chart. So to understand what the chart is showing me, let me actually copy this, and I'll just leave it here. The chart composed of several key portions. This area here that you see in the middle, and let me see if I can insert some shapes on top of this. So this bit down here, this box here represents basically the middle 50% of my data set. So it's who's in the middle, okay? You may not be able to see it, but there's lines in here. I wonder if I can format those. And look at the outline and see if I can't pick a different color for it. And I will pick a different weight, make it a little heavier so you can see. Okay, it's filling in the stuff. Good enough. Live with that. So you can see here, they're all in red lines. See the blue line across the middle? That's the middle. That's the median expected earnings that these students had. And the whole box is that 50% of students seem to be in that range. And it's hard to see here. But let me go through the other pieces, and then I'll come back to them again. The line that goes below with the bar at the end represents the bottom 25% of income earners, and the bar, this line above, and the bar is the top 25%. The patch in the middle is the middle 50%. These guys here, which are very distracting, are students that put in crazy numbers. They thought they were going to earn 650,000 or 550. This one's 450, 200,000. Numbers that probably are rather unrealistic. So within your chart, because it's so distracting to the eye to see these, there are 750 data points here. And all our eye is being drawn to this group of 7 or 8 that are up at the top. So let's hide them. So if you click on this and then right click, you can format the data series. And it gives different things. It says, show the inner points. Now there's too much detail. Outlier points, show them. No, I don't want it. Show mean markers. I don't need that. And it talks about how the quartiles are done, exclusive or inclusive of the median. Don't worry about that. There are little differences that you can have on that. Boom, there, that's easier. So here's my data without those outliers sitting there. And I don't need you anymore. So, whoops. I'm not sure if I can get this guy to move. Can I? There we go. Yeah, move up there. And you, over here. So this is showing me, as I said, the middle 50% of my data. Here's the top 25%, the bottom 25%. That little X I can see now, that's where the mean is. So if I averaged all the numbers, which is a lot of work to do, it would come out here that's a little bit above the median. It's drawn by those super high numbers that I've now hidden from you. It got dragged out of the way. So that's great. But what if I want to start doing comparisons in my data set? Suppose I'd like to look at the students that were in this survey came from various parts of Canada and from outside of Canada. So let me go in here and, whoops, I'd like to go in the design. I'm going to select data. So I'm showing salary, but I'd like to go down here and show it for different groups of students. So let me go into my data set here, and I'm going to go and look at where they're from. Okay. And let's see if I take where they're from, this thing, and see what that does to me. It's a little bit of work because there's a lot of data here. May take it some time. So, oops, it's being thrown off because of this label at the top called home. Don't worry about it. We'll leave it in. I'm going to click OK, but you can see my picture. Look what I got here. Oops, excuse me. So here were the expected earnings of students from Nova Scotia. I had a couple of students from Manitoba and from New Brunswick, outside of Canada, international students, Ontario, from BC, Newfoundland, a couple from Alberta, Prince Edward Island, some that I didn't know where they're from. And I can do comparisons now across all of these different groups, which is, if I've got a categorical variable then that I want to use and do comparisons, now I can do it quickly and easily by just doing that. I could go back here again. Suppose I didn't want this. Do my comparisons. What else have I got here? I could look at what other variables have I got here? What program they're in. So maybe I pick all their programs. These students were in, oops, excuse me. Okay, let me do this the hard, whoop. Sometimes difficult grabbing things in Excel. There we go. Do all my okays, but it's already done all the work here. So those were art students. Quite diverse mix of grades they expected. Business students, the middle bunch seemed to want to earn more, but we didn't have the extremely low folks and extremely high ones up here. And science, again, had some odd ones. We had some students who gave us programs that didn't belong, and others that just left this totally blank. But again, I can make very quick and easy comparisons across groups. I can look at where does the middle vary across the groups, and I can look at the low people, how do they compare? The high people, how do they compare against it? If you want to get into really fancy stuff, that I've got, one of the questions students were asked was, were they concerned about getting a job that paid as much as they wanted? So I could go into select data, edit again. Let me take that stuff out. And this was level of concern they may have had about finding the job they wanted. So do you think people that had expected to earn a lot of money were really concerned, or those that didn't expect to earn much, were they very concerned? So I do that. I gotta find my chart again. It's up here somewhere. There it is. So those that were not concerned at all, they had quite diverse mix of expectations. Those that were very concerned, they seem to have somewhat higher expectations. So they expected to earn a lot. Maybe they wanted to earn a lot, and then they were concerned about that sort of thing. That they I'm not sure with the words here. We can't see them all properly. I'd like to know what somewhat what? Somewhat very concerned, somewhat concerned, neutral. There's one nice thing about this. I could filter out things. Some of these ones, the not sures, I don't care about, and the not applicables. There, that makes it a little easier to see. So other than those, the ones that are very concerned had the highest salary expectations. Okay, that's interesting to see. It's nice along here, this is an ordinal variable here, the level of concern, from not concerned at all up to the other end of very concerned. And it was very nice that Excel knew to do that for me. How did it know how to sort that variable? Well, this is one of the bizarre things to do with Excel. If I go in here, if I picked a different one, whoops, suppose I picked about getting a job where you wanted to live. Because we don't want to go and have to work in some remote location to earn the big bucks. And so where's my picture again? What do I get? Whoa, now I've got a little bit of a problem here. Let me take that filter off. And I've got to put this filter back on again. Get these odd ones out of here. Okay. Somewhat unconcerned, not concerned, somewhat concerned, neutral, very concerned. They're all over the place. What's going on here? Excel is strange in here. What it does is it goes and looks at these labels here and here in the very top. The first one was somewhat unconcerned. Okay? The next different one was not concerned at all. And then the next different one was somewhat concerned. That's this one right here. And the next one after that, it's neutral. And quite a ways later that we get someone, I presume, that says very concerned. There it is, very concerned, way down there. So the sequence in which these responses occurred dictates the sequence of these pictures. You'll have to go and fudge your data, move some rows around to get it into the format you wanted. You can do it with some work, but this is still a powerful tool to do very quickie comparisons of stickman pictures of your data set. Neat, right? That's it.